Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2 Episode 12 review and breakdown video. We're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Of course, it should go without saying that yes, there are spoilers ahead for The Bad Batch, so if you haven't already, go check it out. It is another amazing episode, especially as it's focused on Crosshair. You can't go wrong with those types of episodes. In this video, we're going to be taking a read from dorksideoftheforce.com, fan-sided. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Their article points out plenty of different things that you might have missed throughout this episode, as well as giving an overall overview here as the episode as well. I'll also share some of my own thoughts and opinions and theories throughout this video here as well. So of course, stay tuned for that. As the article reads, Crosshair is not having a good time. Still under the command of a more capable officers, he has now been assigned to accompany a lieutenant to an outpost under his insurgent siege. Of course, as this episode is titled The Outpost. The episode definitely has a little bit of a twist there towards the end of the episode. It really caught me off guard, to be honest. It's honestly like a finally moment for Crosshair. Finally, he's standing up to what's right, pretty much standing up against the Empire. He may find himself getting ejected from the Empire's military, or even put into like an Imperial imprisonment or something along those lines. Is something I see that could happen for him and his character. However, this episode did a phenomenal job with making Crosshair finally realize that him as a clone trooper especially is worth nothing to the Empire, let alone the galaxy out there. As he overcomes him for one thing being not a reg, as they would call it, a regular clone trooper, and have some special capabilities and kind of being with the rest of the Bad Batch, Clone Force 99, and all of them, that's something that kind of already made him feel different and apart from normal regular clones, pretty much. So to see him get along with, regular clones, that they are being Mayday in this episode and really make him feel more welcomed and everything like that. Like, hey, you may be a little bit different. You may have your own special uniqueness to you as a clone trooper for Crosshair, but hey, we're still brothers, pretty much. Within that sense, it's kind of like teaming up together to go against a greater cause, pretty much. Arriving at the outpost, Crosshair meets Clone Commander Mayday. That's not sinister foreshadowing at all, however. Most of the Commander's men are already dead, unfortunately. He reveals to Crosshair that they don't even know what's in the supply crates they've been instructed to guard. They've been losing their lives just trying to be good soldiers and follow orders, simply for the Empire. The outpost comes under attack once again, and 2 more supply crates go missing, as well as clone troopers. The lieutenant orders Crosshair and Mayday to go retrieve them, no matter the risks. On the way, Mayday, the clone trooper, expresses his disdain with the Empire. He and his men have been begging for supplies and resources and new and more troopers for months, and don't even know why they're here. They know that they're expendable, however, and the Empire doesn't pay them any attention. They're just simply doing their jobs and their orders that they've been given. When they reach the camp of these people that have stolen the crates and where the crates are being held, their run-in with the insurgents ends up breaking open one of the crates. Inside, Crosshair and Mayday find stormtrooper armor, not for the clones, but for the Empire's new, more capable military. Both Crosshair and Mayday are seriously injured, and Mayday needs immediate medical attention. Instead of leaving his brother to die alone in the ice, Crosshair picks him up and carries him back to the outpost, further injuring and exhausting himself. And it's cool and unique, I think, for Crosshair, for one thing, because earlier on in the episode, he had mentioned not wanting to carry dead weight, essentially, as one of the insurgents had left one of their own behind. Mayday, of course, expresses that he would never do that in a million years to any of his own men, and that he would hope that that wouldn't happen to him, saying that he will make sure that he doesn't die. As they return to the outpost, Crosshair begs the lieutenant to get Mayday medical help. The lieutenant scolds both men for not retrieving the crates, however, and is more concerned over them than he is over these 2 clone troopers, Crosshair and Mayday. Mayday unfortunately struggles through his final breath, and the weight of reality comes crashing down on Crosshair. Finally, they mean nothing to the Empire, and he's finally beginning to realize this. And with one final burst of strength, he calls to the lieutenant and delivers a fatal shot to the man's chest before collapsing to the ground himself. He wakes up in a medical bay that we see towards the end of the episode, but he's now more or less free than he's ever been, as he's strained down and totally out of it. As long as he cooperates, he gets to live, that is what he's told. At this point, is living even worth it though, however, to the clones? Especially now with this whole situation that Crosshair is really in here. Now from there, that is where the article concludes, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have this article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. I think my biggest and only disappointment and problem here with this episode episode, and this overall show here, I think, for one thing, this season of The Bad Batch, season 2, that is that we're seeing kind of like what's called a quote-unquote the Boba Fett effect, is kind of what I'm taking to claim to name it, essentially. This is something I'd like to talk about more in depth into in a separate future video here on the channel and discussing that. However, what I mean by the Boba Fett effect is that with the book of Boba Fett and that show, the best episodes that we see of that show are about Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Grogu training with Luke Skywalker, Mando off on his own adventure, and don't have anything really much to do with Boba Fett himself. And we're kind of seeing this Boba Fett effect transfer over to another show, an animated show that doesn't really have all that much of an excuse when it comes to budgeting and having these, you know, live action characters and everything like that meeting up. It's all animated and it's all within the voices and everything like that. So pretty much what I'm getting at here with this whole Boba Fett effect here, essentially, is that the best episodes of The Bad Batch don't even include the main characters. The Bad Batch, as we saw with the book of Boba Fett, the best episodes of that show didn't include Boba Fett. Of course, there are some pretty great episodes that do include the Bad Batch. However, so far, episode 3 and this episode, episode 12 of the Bad Batch season 2, have been honestly one of the most action-packed and best episodes of the overall season here so far. Those are both episodes that solely focus on Crosshair. Of course, he's an ex-member of the Bad Batch, but I think you guys get at the point of what I'm trying to make. So now finally going forward with more with Crosshair, we haven't seen him in quite some time here, so to get a little bit of an update on what he's been doing for like the entirety of this season here is really quite interesting, and keeping him in the picture for another thing I think is important, because I was beginning to lose faith and even kind of forgetting about him a little bit. I think many Star Wars fans out there were doing the same here. I think that I really do like, though, where the Bad Batch overall show has finally gone here. We're definitely at a crossroads type of areas, essentially, here. I think there's many different directions and paths that have finally been set up here. We don't know exactly what's going on with Crosshair and his character and everything like that, now that he's kind of officially betrayed the Empire finally at this point. I mean, saying that out loud kind of makes me realize a little bit more of like what he has actually done here. He's in some big trouble here with the Empire, and I don't think that we'll be seeing him in commission and on any more missions with the Empire anymore. And same thing goes for the Bad Batch. They've kind of left Sid behind here finally, and we haven't seen her in a couple of episodes, and hopefully this will continue to remain true, hopefully going forward. Overall, this episode was beyond amazing, action-packed, and finally got down to some core values here that we're seeing going forward with the rest of the Bad Batch and its overall show here as well. As I had mentioned, we're definitely at a crossroads type of area here, and there's many different directions that we can have our characters finally go in. I believe that closer towards the end of the season, as we're approaching it now, finally, after so many months and so many episodes, it really has been quite a journey here. We have about 5-ish episodes, I think, left here. Episode 16 would be the last one. I think towards the end there, we'll see Crosshair actually finally join back up with his brothers, the rest of Clone Force 99, and with everything that they do have going on here. And I think that we'll finally also see Commander Cody reunite here somewhere with the rest of these good clone troopers. A clone uprising is definitely upon us, as more and more clone troopers are getting sick of the tactics of what the Empire has to offer to the clones that have, you know, sacrificed and have done so much for the galaxy. Of course, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What did you think about the latest episode of The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 12, titled The Outpost? I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And furthermore, on what you're anticipating and expecting and hoping to see going forward in the rest of the Bad Batch show here as well. I'd also like to mention that I have my Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2 reaction video here out on the channel now, and I'd also like to take a moment and give a huge special thanks to you guys for over 50,000 followers over on our Instagram page, linked in the description down below. That means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for that, guys. It means everything to me.